In this video, I want to show you how to use the MyPlantDiary app for Android. And I want to tell you a little bit about the app as well. My name's Brandon Jones, and how I got into this, I'm a professor of information technology and been doing that for about 20 years. And one of the courses that I teach is Android development. While I was a professor, I decided that I wanted to take a few courses just for my own interest. And so I started taking horticulture courses. And before I knew it, I had a degree in horticulture from the College of Design, Art, Architecture, and Planning at the University of Cincinnati. So I've released a few apps on the Play Store, all related to plants. One is plantplaces.com mobile, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a moment. Then another is a plant flashcard app. This app is my newest app. It's based on the absolute latest technology behind Android, and it's really geared for a homeowner who wants to keep a journal of plants. What happened to a plant over time, take photos of the plants, set reminders for the plants so you remember to do things like water and prune and other things like that. And also have a map of plants. And think about that if you're a homeowner and you have a map of plants and maybe someday you want to move. And then you can offer to a prospective buyer the maintenance records of your entire yard. So here's an apple tree that I have in my front yard. I planted it maybe in 2010. And I fertilized it then. I had my best crop ever in 2018. This is the kind of apple. So that entire history of a plant, that is what this app is all about. I hope you find it useful, so let's take a look. With MyPlantDiary, you can keep an online journal of your plants. The first app I wrote for the Play Store was plantplaces.com mobile, which lets you GPS plants, photograph plants, and also search plants by color. This is really a whole new generation, a whole new concept that builds off that but also augments it and really is more particular for the homeowner. So first of all, if you want to catalog your plant collection, the GPS automatically updates right up here. You can pause it if you wish. So hit the pause button, it'll turn off GPS updates. Hit the play button, and it will turn GPS updates back on. That will update about once per minute if you have it playing. Now down here, you can add a plant. So let's say you planted a Fuji apple. Notice that it will auto-complete as you start typing. So Fuji apple, if you wish, right there. Let's say that maybe you have an heirloom plant that you've created yourself. So we'll call this one Checkers apple. Just something we're making up. Well, that's fine too. You notice it's not in the list, but as soon as you leave that screen, it's going to come up with a little thing that says, hey, tell me more about this plant. And we'll give it a scientific name. You don't have to. All these fields are optional, but if you do happen to know the genus and species, you can put it in here. And as a matter of fact, it will try to help you out with a bit of autocomplete because a lot of times those names are scientific. And then we can call this one Checkers. So Malus domestica checkers, we'll say it needs watering and full sun and save. There again, most of the plants that you see are going to be already in the database that this uses, but you can certainly add your own if you wish. Where is it? Give it a name. We'll call this one Checkers Island. Now the neat thing is, once again, you can call it whatever you want, and once you've entered a location, that will autocomplete the next time you have a new plant. So if you want to take all the plants that are in your front yard and put them in one collection, you just enter front yard each time and they will be associated with that collection. Now description is whatever you want. We can say a wild apple tree I really like. Something like that. Date started, you can click here and you can choose any date. It will default to today's date, but you can certainly select another date if you want. If you wish, you can take a picture or you can simply save it. Now, notice once you've saved it, did you see that this changes up at the top? That's because all of the plants in your collection are available on this spinner up at the top. And if you want to look at one plant in particular, maybe the sausage orange tree here, you simply select it from that top spinner, and then it will come up, and it will also bring up all of the event history. If you want to add a new photo, great. Click the camera button again, you can add a new photo. If you want to add a new event, wonderful. Click this little button down at the bottom right, and that will allow you to add a new event. So the idea is that these plants grow, and we want to keep up with them, and we want to keep entries of what happens as the plants are growing. Sign in with your Google account, or create a new account with an email address. This application offers single sign-on with a Google account so that anytime you're signed into an Android device with a Google account, your data will automatically sync. Now, a couple notes. You're welcome to use this app free of charge to store your plant data, and that will automatically sync to the cloud, except for photos. So the data about the plant name, where it's located, the events, that will automatically sync, no charge. And you can replicate that from one device to another. The photos will sync as well, provided that you do one of two things. Number one, it's expensive to store photos because they take up a lot of room. So when you take a photo, it will typically prompt you and say, well, do you want to just store it locally on this device? If so, no charge. It's all yours. Free, save here. If you want to sync to the cloud, it's ad supported. So you can click on this box and you simply watch an advertisement, and then it does sync your photos. After you've watched that ad, it syncs your photos for no charge. And then you're able to see your photos on multiple devices. And soon, you'll also be able to see them on the web. We'll add a new feature in the near future where you can simply pay a flat amount each year, and then you can enjoy a completely ad-free experience throughout the entire app, and your photos will also sync automatically without having to watch an ad. So keep an eye open for that. That's coming fairly soon. I paused the video for a moment so you wouldn't have to sit through that advertisement, but nonetheless, I do want to show you. Once I finished watching that ad, you see that the photo appears here along with the other photos taken of this specific plant, and this is indeed a common pawpaw. This is an actual plant, so you can see that we can keep adding the photos as that plant is growing. Add events like water, fertilize, prune, transplant, and also take photos. If we take a look at the home screen, you notice at the top, we can select any of our specimens that we've recorded. Here I have selected the common pawpaw, Tatu. And if you take a look, we can scroll through a list of events down below, and some of the events might have photos. They don't have to, but they can. If you just want to add a photo, you can do it right from the screen. Just click the little photo button down here. On the other hand, if you want to add an event, you can click the event button right here. And this takes you to another place where you can add even more photos, but you can give them a bit of description as well. So once again, you see we have a couple photos that we already have. And then up at the top, we can describe the event that we want to do. Or perhaps an event that we've already done. So I could say something like fertilize 1 cup. And put this in your own words, however you want to describe it. Fertilize, if that's what you want to call it. If you want to say feed the plant, if you want to say put down nitrogen, whatever words you want to use, it's up to you. 1 is the quantity, cup. You could say sprinkle. You could say a little bit. Again, use the words that you're comfortable with. And then description. We can say early spring fertilization to encourage fruiting, or something of that nature. And then you can pick a date here. You can it defaults to the current date, but you could choose another date if you want, and choose OK. And then simply choose Save. If you want to associate a photo with it, click on the photo, the little camera button, and that will toggle the camera, and you can add as many photos as you would like. Take photos and update photos as your plant grows. This is where the diary concept is really handy. On this event screen, you can really put any type of event that could happen to your plant. And you can also add photos over time. So it's not a matter of you make one entry once and you're done, you can't go back and edit it. Just go back to this event screen. And we might say something like prune. Maybe I just prune my plant. Good thing to do in the late winter, early spring. Maybe 1 plant, something like that. And we'll say prune for directed growth. This is a concept, I'll say, when I started getting interested in plants, I had a really hard time understanding why you would prune a plant. But it actually makes a lot of sense because a plant has a finite amount that it can grow in a year. And when you're pruning, you're directing that growth to certain areas. So I might want to take some photos and log what we've pruned off. Now you see I've created the event. I can come down here and I can click the photo button. Now this isn't a real phone, so you see it brings up a little emulator, but you get the idea. We can click a photo. We can say we like the photo. And then what will happen is it adds the photo to our scrolling list of photos that we see down here. It'll take just a moment for that to sync, but nonetheless, once it's synced, we'll be able to see an entire diary of photos in our application. Set reminders for future events, watering, fertilizing, transplanting, or really anything that you'd like to do. Here on the event screen, we can really put any type of event that we want. One thing I like to do with my canine around March is look at my pawpaws and look at the flowers and try to get an idea of who's going to bloom and who might fruit. So that's kind of maybe an annual event. So what I could say is inspect flowers. And each of these fields that you see are optional. You don't have to fill them out, and you can really put in whatever words you want. I might say one, plant, because I'm looking at the plant, and then I'll say look at flowers. Now you notice it has an event date. I can simply click on that and change it to another date if maybe this happened in the past or in the future, something I want to do in the future. We'll go ahead and go with this date. Now take a look at this button with a little alarm clock on it, because here we can set a reminder. Now it pre-populates this top field based on what you put in the event, inspect flowers, and also the name of the plant that you're currently looking at, which in this case is a common pawpaw. Make recurring is interesting because this is where we can actually set a reminder into the future. So for recurrence, you could do it every day. You could do it every 3 days, every 4 days, or you could change the way the recurrence works, and you could say maybe it's something that you want to do weekly, and weekly maybe you want to do it every Thursday. Or you could say, I want to do it monthly, and you could say maybe every 3 months. Or you could do it annually, yearly. Annually is really good for those once-a-year things that you want to do to a plant, like prune. Pruning you often want to do in March before the growing season starts. A lot of people think you do that in the fall, but that's the wrong time to do it. You really want to do your pruning early on so that the plant can direct where its growth needs to go for that year. But you have to remember to do it. So that's why there are different intervals here. On the other hand, weekly maybe something like water a plant that needs some water needs. Daily, maybe there's something you want to harvest. Let's say you have a nasturtium, edible flower, and the flower will appear all the way through summer. But maybe you set a daily or every other day reminder to go pluck your nasturtium flowers, because as soon as you pluck them, you'll have another flower there in another day or two. Integrate with Google Calendar. As you're creating reminders, you see that we have a reminder, and optionally you can check this button, Add to Calendar. And if we do that, we hit save, it's going to pull up our Google Calendar, and it's going to pre-populate several fields with some details about the reminder that we're creating. The nice thing about this is that it gives you a single place to take a look at all of your events for that day, whether they're related to your plant in your MyPlantDiary, or whether it's related to doctor's appointments or anything else. And you'll notice that it pre-populates with information that it picked up from the event and the reminder that we just chose. So once I'm happy with this, I choose Save, and then I can simply hit the back button, and we're right back to our plant and our reminder once again. See a map of where your plants are located. Since GPS information is captured when you create a plant, we can easily see a map of where our plants are located. Simply click on this map button up towards the top. This opens up a satellite view of your plants, and the handy thing is you can click on one of these icons here. You can see the plant that's there, and then when you select the plant, it will take you back to the home screen, and it will populate the details of the home screen with that plant. So from here, you can go back and add events, add reminders, and do all the other things that we've shown so far in this video. So this has been a look at MyPlantDiary, which is available for Android, and also soon we'll have a web presence as well. I hope that this is useful to you and that you're able to use it to categorize and keep journal entries of your plants and the way that your plants have improved your life. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.